At the Ichiran High Club Fair, the host announces the performance of the dance club. Kaboku, one of the students sitting in the audience, turns his attention toward his mobile. His friends are discussing the dance club's performance in a group chat. They ask his opinion on the girls, however he makes up the excuse that he is too tired to watch the show. Kaboku can't bear to watch someone dance, because it triggers bad memories of an incident in middle school. Later in the class, Kaboku is sitting with his friends. They make fun of a student reading a paragraph in broken English. Kaboku is the next one to be called for reading, but his reading is as bad as the first guy. Once he finishes reading, the students comment on his bad English. After class, he hangs out with his friends. He tries to act like a normal student, not wanting to stand out. He believes standing out will do him no good and only cause problems. Today is the club recruitment day. Kaboku's friend decides to take the basketball club flyer. While there, he notices a flyer for the dance club on the ground. He ignores it and begins to move on, when suddenly a girl comes there and picks it up. She gives a weird reaction after reading it and walks away. Kaboku is left confused, wondering why she made that face. Later in class, he carefully looks at the dance club flyer. His friends become surprised to see him reading about the dance club and ask if he doesn't want to join the basketball club with them. He quickly comes up with the excuse that there are a lot of beautiful girls there. Later that day, he notices the girl from earlier dancing in front of a mirror. He is confused to see her dancing alone, still wearing her uniform. Kaboku is mesmerized to see her dancing beautifully. Little do they know, there is someone secretly filming her. He reunites with his friend for another class and finds them buried in their phones, looking at some video. One of his friends explains how he caught a girl dancing in front of a mirror and recorded her. Kaboku is stunned to hear that his friend also watched the scene. The guy explains that he recorded her so he might be able to have a peek. Stuttering a little, Kaboku tries to reprimand his friends for doing that, but they just dismiss him. In their next class, the professor explains that this will be a combined class of 2 lectures. He tells the students to mark the quiz of the person sitting next to them. Kaboku is surprised to see the girl from earlier sitting beside him. After taking her quiz, he finds out that her name is Hikari Wanda. He is surprised to see how neat her handwriting is. While checking the quiz, he accidentally peeks at her bare legs. Quickly diverting his gaze, he starts to feel guilty about looking at the video that his friend took. When they exchange the quizzes back, Kaboku hesitantly asks Wanda if she likes to dance. She admits her passion for dancing, curious about how he knows about that. With a stutter, Kaboku replies that one of his friends saw her dancing the other day. He contemplates telling her that he was the one who saw her, but he can't bring himself to say it. Gathering some courage, he starts to speak, but his stutter gets worse. He quickly explains to Wanda that he is not nervous. This is just how he speaks. Wanda politely replies that she has no issue with his speaking. But before they can continue the discussion, the teacher tells them to return the papers. Their next class is PE. During the physical evaluation, the other girls are surprised to see Wanda's weak grip of just 15 kgs. Later, after PE class, she meets up with Kaboku. She thanks him for helping her carry the gym equipment. He tells her it's no problem, mentioning her lack of athleticism. Wanda agrees with him, but despite this, she reveals she used to do karate in middle school. This new information surprises Kaboku, and he asks if dancing also takes a lot of effort. Instead of replying to this question, Wanda asks if he also likes dancing. Kaboku reveals that he had to dance in front of everyone in middle school. When he saw the video his teacher took, he was shocked to see how badly he danced. Although everyone enjoyed the video, he couldn't help but feel like they were laughing at him. After that incident, he finds it very hard to watch someone dance. Wanda seems to understand how he feels. She understands it takes a lot of courage to dance in front of everyone. During his basketball practice, Kaboku gets the ball, but he starts to feel uneasy, thinking that everyone is staring at him, so he passes the ball to his friend. When he goes back to the class, his friends call him to join them. Quickly wrapping an arm around his shoulder, he introduces him to the girls sitting there. The girls comment on how he has a cool name. They are surprised to see him stuttering so much when he tries to thank them. His friend quickly comes forward to defend him, saying that Kaboku just stutters a little, but he is still cool. The boy then teases him, asking if he is nervous. The girls question him next, asking if he also stutters while thinking, and laugh when Kaboku denies it. In his next class, he is sitting beside Wanda again. She praises how good he is at basketball. Although she doesn't know much about the game, she was impressed by his passes and how he paid attention to the entire court. A small blush coats his cheeks upon hearing this. He admits that he only just started playing, and the reason he keeps an eye on everyone is so he can match their level. However, even though he likes the game, he sometimes freezes. Changing the topic, he asks Wanda about the dance club. She tells him that she joined the club because she wanted to try dancing with other people. He asks her a weird question: why dancing? Surprised at the question, Wanda begins to wonder how to answer that. After thinking for a few moments, she finally comes up with an answer, because it is something that doesn't need much talking. Kaboku is shocked to hear this. That day, when he is on his way back home, he realizes that Wanda was right. He realizes what he really wanted to ask her was, what is her goal? Searching online, he finds a profile of a singer named Scatman John. He also had a stutter but never gave up on his dreams. While watching a famous music video of Scatman, Kaboku recalls how it is said that every person featured in the video had a stutter. He flops back down on his bed, resisting the urge to watch the video of Wanda dancing. Eventually, he opens the group chat and finds them discussing how Wanda looks adorable in the dance video. The next morning at school, his friends approach him, seemingly unhappy with something he did. When he asks them what the issue is, they tell he never said anything in the chat. Instead of replying to their complaints, Kaboku asks his friend why he shared that video. He reveals that he met Wanda a few days ago, but she completely ignored him, only replying with one-word answers. He continues telling him how he thought a dancer girl would be easier. Maybe if Kaboku was there, it would be great because girls like talking to him. Ignoring his friend's explanation, Kaboku tells him to delete the video. His friend replies that they just did it for fun. Unfazed by the excuse, Kaboku points out what they did is wrong. In this town, every trend reaches almost 5 years late, and no one is concerned about speaking English. Here, the social hierarchy decides who is lame. But to him, those who accept this hierarchy are the lame ones. Much to his surprise, his friend notices how Kaboku didn't stutter at all. Kaboku scolds his friend for changing the topic. Placing a hand on his shoulder, his friend asks him why he is acting weird all of a sudden. With his head hung low, Kaboku replies that he feels like whenever he makes fun of someone, it comes back to bite him. If this is what it takes to be normal, he would rather do what he wants and be called a weirdo. Overwhelmed with emotions, he runs away. His friends realize they should delete the video, admitting that it felt kind of creepy. Running in the corridor, Kaboku finally realizes why he was so baffled that day. But his thoughts are interrupted as he comes across Wanda again. She starts dancing again in front of the same mirror. She moves around effortlessly with graceful moves. As she finishes her routine, she notices Kaboku watching her. Mustering all his confidence, he tells her he also wants to join the dance club. He puts his bag down and starts doing the only move he knows. All she can do is stare at him in surprise. He stops after a moment, admitting that this is all he learned, and asks Wanda about her opinion. She replies that it is hard to give an opinion when there is no music, but he can put his elbows out a little and raise his chin. Kaboku is surprised at her response, admitting that he expected her to make fun of him. He starts to stutter again as he tells her how he is just a newbie, but he really wants to try dancing. Wanda encourages him, saying that people have a high chance of progressing when they are doing something they love. For her, this is a way to express herself. She encourages him again, because she likes people who have something to show the world. Dance was declared a compulsory part of the middle school curriculum in 2012. TV and internet sources also came to report on the subject. Currently, there are 60,000 students enrolled in 2,000 different dance clubs across Japan. However, only 5% of these students are male. After making his decision to join the dance club, Kaboku goes to the club room. All the girls are surprised to see him. Ignoring them, he starts looking around and finds Wanda sitting in a corner. She tells him that the students who want to join the club are told to sit there and observe. Kaboku is relieved to know that he can just watch for now. The dance club at Ichiran High has 10 third years and 14 second years. The club president is Mayo, a third-year student. As the dance club starts their practice, one of the girls turns toward Kaboku, asking him if he went to the same middle school as Wanda. They also recognize him from the gym when he was playing basketball. Changing the topic, she explains that the ones sitting in front of the mirror are third years. The younger students sit at the back so they can learn from their seniors. The first years also start off at the back row until they gain more experience. The first step is to stretch, and then they do isolation. Seeing his confusion, the girl explains that isolation is when only one part of the body is moving, like the head, chest, or hips. Kaboku blushes at seeing the club president move so deliberately, and it makes him wonder if Wanda can also do such moves. One of the girls looks worried as she says how she never learned dancing and she might not get through this. She is relieved when Wanda says that she also never learned to dance properly. Their discussion turns to Miao and how she looks amazing while dancing. They are startled when Miao suddenly notices them and starts heading their way. Miao says that she knows they are just here to observe, but if anyone knows dancing, they can join the practice. All of the newbies cower away, and Miao turns to leave but stops in her tracks when Wanda calls her, asking for permission to join them. Miao permits her to join, which gives courage to some other girls, and they also stand up to join. When they ask Kaboku if he will join, he hesitantly stands up to go with them. Miao tells him how there is another male student in the club, but he rarely comes there. When Kaboku asks if it is really okay for a boy to join the club, Miao replies that anyone who loves dancing is welcome there. She goes to start the practice again. She instructs them on how to move their arms while simultaneously dancing herself. Kaboku is extremely focused as Miao tells them to relax and flow with the music. Even though he is following every move, he is still cautious about his performance, feeling like he is doing something wrong while everyone else is amazing at dancing. The voices of everyone chatting start to make him nervous, and he feels like he is the only one bad at this. Once the routine ends, Miao starts to guide everyone separately, telling a girl how she should make a specific move. Moving on to the next girl, Miao tells her how she is doing and just has to make sure her knees are facing the same way. Kaboku is nervous to see her guiding everyone individually and notices how close she is. His nervousness grows when Miao approaches Wanda and then soon moves toward him. Standing in a weird pose, he is worried about the judgment, but Miao just politely tells him not to stress about his exact posture yet. Just then, a few girls ask Miao's permission to leave for some drinks. She gives them a thumbs up, highlighting the importance of staying hydrated. When she goes back to advising students, Kaboku takes this chance and leaves to get some water. He is sitting on the bench beside the vending machine when Wanda joins him there. Surprised to see her, he quickly explains how he is a little tired. She explains that they are using a lot of muscles today that they don't normally use, so it makes sense to feel tired. Once she gets a drink for herself, Kaboku asks if she is also taking a break, to which Wanda replies that they all get a little break after the rhythms training. Kaboku is confused by the president didn't say anything to Wanda. Soon, she stands up to get back inside. She offers him a hand, but Kaboku starts to stutter excessively, saying that he doesn't need help to stand up. Sitting in the class the next day, Kaboku recalls how he only followed the others in yesterday's dance. He barely knew what they were doing, as he had no idea about dancing. Meanwhile, Wanda is sitting with her class fellows, who seem impressed to know that she is in the dance club and suggest that she should make a TikTok to do the covers for famous idols. They ask her what online platform she uses, suggesting the names of different sites. Wanda replies that she doesn't use any of these sites, including the most famous online chatting platform. Her friends are shocked to hear that she doesn't use any of these things and then figure on their own that this must be another online trend of people getting fed up with these sites. Kaboku has been eavesdropping on their discussion, and when he meets with Wanda again, he asks her if she is not bothered by people thinking that she is strange. Wanda replies that she doesn't pay much attention to them and comments on how he is very unique. When he looks at her with a confused expression, Wanda explains that he puts in a lot of effort to keep an eye on everyone, which she finds very great. She then tells him how the dance club also participates in competitions, and they will start practicing for them soon. Kaboku is amazed to hear that, and soon they are looking at the flyers for dance competitions. Surprised at the long list of dances, Kaboku points out that the first thing on the list is the Japan Dance Convention, and he is curious if the juniors will be allowed to participate. Wanda replies that she doesn't know anything about it, but she is still excited. Kaboku realizes how she only thinks about dancing. He asks her what her thoughts are when she is practicing. Wanda is left at a loss for words. He tells her how his mind becomes clouded every time he dances, but when someone looks at him, his mind instantly does blank. She just stares at him as he explains how his stuttering is the same. He doesn't stutter when he is alone, but it becomes worse when he is talking to someone. He explains he can't participate in any competitions this early. Hearing this, she apologizes for pushing him so much. Kaboku quickly tries to backtrack. He becomes annoyed at himself for making Wanda apologize to him, but he is still relieved to find something where he can express himself without talking. He practices the dancing alone, following all the instructions he got from Miao. He tries his best to achieve isolation, but he can't stop his shoulders from moving. Eventually, he figures that if he keeps his shoulders diagonally His posture is a little better. He practices rhythm next, folding his chest into his belly, bending his knees in the same directions, and trying to move his head. He seems to enjoy himself while dancing, and after taking a short drinking break, he goes back to practicing again. The dancing makes him feel really good, and while looking into the mirror, he keeps chanting that he is a dancer. This reminds him of how Wanda said that the mental side of things holds great value while dancing, and she also told him the mantra she uses while dancing. The next morning, he meets Wanda at the lockers, and after greeting each other, he asks her if they can choose a date to practice together. Wanda easily agrees with his offer, even though she was a little surprised at first when he mentioned the date. Elsewhere, the club president finds a boy named Iori in the hallway. She asks him why he no longer comes to the dance club. Iori playfully asks if they have any interesting new participants since she is so eager to have him back. She replies that he is right, telling him how one student knows very little about dancing while the other is really an expert at it. And they also have a very interesting student. Meanwhile, during the dance practice with Wanda, Kaboku feels like his feet are stuck to the ground. He was under the impression that if only Wanda were watching him, he would not be so nervous, but it looks like this is not the case. He is irritated with how he invited Wanda to watch him, while all he can do is the up-down move. His train of thought breaks when Wanda advises him to pretend that no one is watching him and just keep his focus on music. He recognizes the next song Wanda plays, impressing her with his musical knowledge. Kaboku replies that the song is just very famous, but she reveals that she didn't know because the song was just recommended by some seniors. He starts to dance again, saying to her that she doesn't need detailed music knowledge to be a good dancer. He is surprised when Wanda suddenly points out that he was completely immersed in the music just now. During their next practice session at the club, the same song is played, and since he has listened to it a lot, Kaboku manages to keep his focus on dancing. Mayo notices how he is very good at listening, and she can see him search for the part of music when practicing a special move. According to her, that is how a real dancer should work, and it makes her curious if he practiced a lot on his own. She has an idea that he would be an interesting student, and it makes her wonder if he is the special one. Miao is teaching them another dancing routine, carefully instructing them on how to move the body and which move is most significant. Kaboku follows the instructions carefully, moving his body along with the music, and now Miao is instructing them to go back and forward. When the first routine ends, Miao tells them to switch the moves with the beats, which confuses everyone. She explains how to move left and right while also leaning forward at the same time. She tells them to move their knees while also keeping up with the rhythm. This new routine is hard for everyone to follow as their legs start to tangle up. Surprisingly, Kaboku seems to get the hang of it and gets praised by Miao, who says he is easily followed through, unlike most of the newbies. A while later, he is standing alone in the corridor when one of his friends approaches him and asks if he will not be playing basketball anymore. When Kaboku just stares at him, he tells him to join them sometime when he is free. Kaboku is not sure if it is okay for him to do it, but his friend assures him that it will be fine and then changes the topic, wanting to know if there are a lot of beautiful girls in the dance club. They are interrupted when Wanda comes there and greets both Kaboku and his friend Hodohara. Turning toward Kaboku, she asks if he is also feeling pain from their practice yesterday, as she hardly got out of bed this morning. Stuttering a little, Kaboku replies that he felt the same, and they are both interrupted by Hodohara asking if they are dating each other. He dismisses the topic, seeing Kabaku's shocked reaction, and instead asks Kaboku to join him sometime because a few students from the basketball club remember him from middle school and want to meet with him. Kaboku is surprised to hear that, as Wanda says that he is part of both clubs now. He is hesitant to reply, but Hodohara takes over for him, saying to Wanda how he was saying there are a lot of beautiful girls in the dance club, and he even liked them before joining the club. When Kaboku goes to the dance club again, everyone instantly starts looking at him. He is nervous to see everyone staring at him like that, but he can understand that they will be a little cautious because he is the only guy in the club. This makes him realize why the other male students left the club, and the more he thinks about how the club is dominated by the girls, the more nervous he gets. Ignoring all the stares, he starts to practice again, even though his knees feel sore. Once the practice ends, Mayo asks for the volunteers from the first year to do the cleaning duty, and Kaboku joins the girls in the task. While moping, the girls ask if he stutters because of nervousness, to which Kaboku replies that he is not nervous and that it is more like scratching. When the girls go back to their conversation, Kaboku's thoughts drift toward Wanda and how she is the most talented of all the first-year students. Everyone else also looks very good to him, but something about Wanda's dancing is more attractive, which makes him wonder why she is so different. Soon they go back to practicing, and Mayao teaches them a move called crab, instructing them on how they need to move their toes and heels. After showing them a demo, she tells them to practice this move along with up-downs, and once they master this, they can do something else while doing the crab with their feet. Kaboku follows her instructions, but he still trips a little and looks at Wanda, who is easily making the move. After the practice, Mayao tells them that they will start practicing for the contest soon, and it will be great if everyone, including the first years, can take part in it. Since there is a limit to the number of participants, they will do auditions to select the candidate, which is more like a test to see who is more confident on stage. She says that every year they practice some choreography, but this year they want everyone to freestyle, and she will pick a song for it. The seniors in the club think that freestyle will be difficult for the new students, and their concerns seem valid when one of the new students inquires about the freestyle. The senior girl explains that in freestyle there is no choreography, and even though she is in her second year, she finds it difficult to do. Everyone starts to get nervous hearing that, as one of the students says that freestyle and battles are not usually practiced on high school teams. Mio finally interjects, telling them to relax, as she will show them how to do that. She continues that if they practice more, they will be able to face an audience, and it is good if they get to face the people early. According to her, a good team forms when every individual is skilled and asks if they want to know how their teammates dance. She then excitedly asks who wants to participate in the contest. At first, only 2 girls, including Wanda, raise their hands, but slowly everyone else also joins them. Later, while stretching beside Kaboku, Wanda cheerfully says how excited she is for this contest. Kaboku is not very happy with the idea of facing people and is sure that he will not be able to do that, but then blames his low self-esteem for holding him back. He is still nervous while walking with Wanda after the practice. She notices his mood and assures him that they will be able to do that. She softly rubs his back, saying how she thinks he is very good because he always flows with the music. Standing alone in the corridor a while later, Kaboku is thinking about how Wanda is full of energy while he just goes with the flow. It is weird to him that when he is practicing the rhythm, he is reminded of dribbling a basketball. He comes out of his thoughts when one of his friends invites him to play basketball with them. While running on the court, he starts to feel a little calm and is so deep in the game that he loses his strong focus. After they finish the game, his friend asks if he really doesn't want to play basketball. Kaboku replies that he is grateful for their invitation to play the game, but he is enjoying the dance club and tells them about the upcoming contest. Hodoharu says he will be very prominent on a stage full of girls, and he shouldn't push so hard to get out of his comfort zone. His friend's speech makes him rethink his decision, but when he meets Wanda again, he feels content with his decision to join the dance club. After practice, Wanda praises him for improving his rhythm every day and asks how he does that. Kaboku replies that he follows what Mayao told them the other day about how the newcomers find it hard to follow the rhythm. Mayao has given a demo of how to move their body up and down on the beat and how to go up. They need to get down a little first. She had said that it is hard to follow this if they are not used to the and count, and how it is a technique that most of the Japanese dancers use, but a lot of thinking is not needed for this method. Kaboku asks Wanda if she remembers the lecture, and when she agrees to it, he says how this method helps him a lot. And to him, rhythm is like basketball. He explains how the sound of dribbling by the opposite team is like on beat, which can be stolen when it comes up, and he imagines it like coming in on the and. Wanda is impressed by his technique, even though she doesn't know much about basketball. Kaboku is still not sure of himself, saying that he just follows this but doesn't know if it is right when dancing. Wanda quickly assures him that it is fine because it is up to him how he sees things, and with his perceptions, one day he will find a dance only for himself that no one else will be able to imitate. Her words surprise Kaboku, who realizes how Wanda never looks at anyone while dancing. Seeing his expression, Wanda asks if he is still nervous, and then continues that he should get out more since he is at least 3 years older than her. He still looks unsure of himself, so Wanda says that whenever she looks at him, she sees someone who is very passionate about something and is stressed because he can't let it out. She continues to say how frequently he stops himself from talking, which makes her feel like he is very talkative and has a lot of things to discuss. When he doesn't say anything in reply, Wanda is worried that she might say too much, but instead of replying to her assumptions, Kaboku asks how he can dance like no one is watching him. Due to the exhaustion, he is in a slightly bowed position, which gives Wanda easy access, and she cups his cheeks, saying that he can dance in front of her, and even when there is a crowd, he can pretend that she is the only one there. On the day of the audition, the club members sit together in the room as their president. Mayo decides to show them a small routine to start things properly. As she puts on the song called Lost in Japan, it starts playing in the background. Kaboku, sitting on the floor with everyone else, is surprised at how it is the same song he was listening to just yesterday. Just then, Mayo starts her dance, moving around gracefully and showing them how to do freestyle. Everyone is mesmerized by her performance and starts talking about how she is doing improv. One of the girls tells her friend that Mayo has been performing for more than 10 years now, and she can ace all sorts of dancing techniques. Kaboku is surprised to hear that Mayo is a city girl who lived in Osaka until 3rd grade. When Mayo's routine finally comes to an end, she stops with an elegant move, telling everyone that they should follow her time duration. Keeping her hands on her knees, she continues that a few people must have figured out that she just did some variation of the technique crab. The students seem surprised by her revelation, but Mayo ignores their reaction and continues that they can do many things by mixing up the crab. This is why she didn't want them to blow her mind with their dance moves when she asked them to do the freestyle. She just wants to check how good they are at following the music. The student again seemed a little surprised by her statement, while she reminded them how she had told them to feel the music. Mayo knows that they are finding her talk strange because they just want to learn new dance moves, but when they are performing in front of a big crowd, it will be a strange feeling just like she had felt. When there are a lot of people in front of you, everyone will be focusing on the stage. She paints a perfect picture for everyone, saying how all the cameras will also be focused on them. Amidst all this, the music will start playing, and they will have to keep performing. It is a given that they will start to feel nervous and won't know where to look. Slowly, the voices around them will start to fade out, and their minds will be clouded with all types of strange thoughts about their next dance steps, their appearance, and how weird they are looking while performing on stage. They'll be all up in their head, feeling flustered and suddenly moving at warp speed. It's like their body hit the fast-forward button out of nowhere. Seeing students' confused faces, she explains that it means they will start to move faster than the rhythm, like if they had to move their fist at the booming sound, it should be something like she is doing. But when they start to grow more nervous, they are going to do it before the sound, messing up the rhythm, which is a disastrous situation in dancing. She points out how they all feel very annoyed when they watch videos where the sound is not synced with the video. The same thing happens in the dancing. Even though the general audience is not very educated about the Russian concept and doesn't focus much on the music when they are watching someone perform. Even if the audience is not able to express it in professional terms, it still affects their overall impression of the performance. Then they start to say something about how the performance was not extraordinary or how the dance was nice, but it feels like something was missing. All these problems arise when they are not following the rhythm, which is why she wants them to learn how to move perfectly in sync with the music. The students just look at each other, still not understanding what she means by all this. Mayo continues her lecture, saying that there are some tricks to avoid moving faster than the music. The first one is that they should always focus on the and beat instead of general counting techniques. She shows them graceful moves while explaining how when they are not moving, instead of doing the counting. The other thing is to keep their mind focused while performing in front of the crowd. Kaboku is amazed by her knowledge and listens attentively as Mayo tells them that they don't need to be very attentive to have a focused mind. She struggles to explain it to them, but manages to say how it is when their mind is focused and calm simultaneously. She is sure that everyone has experienced this situation once in their life. Wanda and Kaboku both stare at her in admiration as she says that the plan was to judge their improv today, but the statement is still very unclear, and they are also not ready for something so complex. This is why today the only thing they will judge is if the students are rushing or not. As long as their moves are perfectly harmonized with the music, they are free to dance in their own style. They can pick off the isolation, rhythm training, or any other move they have learned, as this is all that they need for the freestyle. After finishing her speech, Mayo asks the students to come on the stage in pairs because it is what usually happens in back dancer auditions, so it will be a great chance for them to practice if they want to become professionals. The students start to discuss if anyone wants to be a professional. Ignoring their conversation, Mayo asks the third-year students to perform first, so that the first year can watch them and learn. Two girls from the third year come on the stage and show their impressive performance to everyone. Maya is satisfied by their great performance since they have unique styles and can dance to even better songs. She calls the next pair from the second year, but they fail to impress her with their performance because of the way they keep rushing. When the next pair comes on the stage, Maya can already recognize that one of the girls is good at dancing. The girl dancing keeps thinking about how Maya continuously mentions useless things like music and mind when the dance is about how a person moves, has agility, and looks while performing. It is the same for every student, including Wanda, who gets a lot of attention, but in reality, she doesn't know much. With the goal of showing Wanda her dance moves, she continues to dance furiously until their time ends and they return to their fellow students, exhausted from the nerve-wracking routine. Maya calls out the next pair, Kaboku and the most famous person, Wanda Hikari-chan. Kaboku is really nervous when they stand in the middle of the room. He can sense everyone's eyes on him, making him feel like he is drowning. Just then, Wanda plays the song, bringing him out of the daze. As she starts to dance in front of him, everyone around them fades into the background. But Kaboku couldn't bring himself to move. Other dancers start to praise Wanda's impressive moves, wondering how she knows all this. They are also worried about Kaboku, who still hasn't moved a bit even though their time is slowly coming to an end. Ignoring all the whispers around him, Kaboku finally figures out that Maya and Wanda are different from everyone else. He noticed that even though is a slight delay, Wanda-san moved a bit after the music, and this might be her secret. After his new discovery, he also decides to follow the same thing and finally starts to dance to the song. Miao's words from earlier keep replaying in his head, and he makes sure to hold his step while only moving one leg. He remembers that he needs to use the isolation on his chest for the finer tunes. Slowly, he starts to get the hang of it, impressing his fellow dancers with how well he is doing. Two girls in the crowd are discussing how while watching a performance it is fun to notice how the dancer reacts to specific beats. Like in this song, a strong boom beat is coming up soon, so it will be fun to watch how this pair will react to that. They both continue their routine, and Kaboku is happy to confirm that his speculations about moving a bit behind the music were true. Following this routine feels very different from how he usually dances, which makes him regret not following this technique soon. It was Wanda who made him realize that, and now he just needs to follow the music without worrying about anything else. Other students are impressed by their collective performance and try their best to understand why they are so good. According to Miao, as long as they can hit the same beat with the same flair, it doesn't matter if their moves aren't identical, they'll be grooving in perfect harmony. According to her, both of them are holding the rhythm first before following with their dance moves, which is very strange for newbies to pull off. She's onto this duo. They must be busting a move together on the regular. While most students just show up to the dance club a few times a week and call it a day, it's pretty clear these two are putting in some serious rehearsal hours behind closed doors. Their performance feels like a real stage show, not just an audition, and even people who don't know much about dancing can see how beautiful it looks. Wanda's talent in dance is clear as always, but seeing Kaboku perform like this is truly impressive. Despite not doing anything out of the ordinary, he is surprisingly in tune with the music and doesn't give off any rookie vibes. Their dance routine finally comes to an end, leaving a big impact on the audience, including Hotohara, who was secretly watching them through the window. The next morning, when Kaboku walks into the school, he is greeted by his friend, who nervously admits that he watched him dancing yesterday. Kabo is shocked to hear that, but Hotohara assures him that he was only there for a second but still could tell that his friend was enjoying this. Kaboku is happy to get support from his friend and invites him to watch him perform during the dance competition. As Wanda makes her grand entrance, greeting both of them with enthusiasm, she wastes no time in inviting Hotohara to witness the epic competition she and Kaboku are about to dominate. Despite Hotohara previously agreeing to attend, he can't help but play it cool, pretending to be unsure if he's actually allowed to witness their awesomeness in action. The next day, Kaboku is sitting with his friends, who are immersed in playing cards. He keeps thinking about how the people who don't stutter converse very fluently. Whenever he is sitting with them, he feels like he is disturbing their flow. His train of thought breaks when his friends ask why he has a seahorse as an icon on the chatting app. Stuttering a little, he replies that he just likes the animal but keeps the real reason a secret. His friends are not happy with the simple answer, but they continue their discussion about how adorable his icon is. While Kaboku's friends chat away, his mind is busy marveling at the wonders of smartphones. When asked about his stuttering, he likens it to trying to talk while drowning, constantly struggling for breath. No wonder he dreams of being an underwater creature, like a cool seahorse. Later that day, he is standing in the corridor with Hodohara, who expresses how he was worried for nothing because his high school life seems to be going great. He thinks Kaboku is in a good place, and if he doesn't interact with anyone, people will one-sidedly think that he is a good person. Nothing would bother him if he just let things go and danced in his free time. Kaboku just stays silent in reply, thinking about how it would be great if he could do that, but it looks like he is not capable of living like his friend is suggesting. During the next dance class, Mayo starts the lecture by telling them about the dance rhythm. She tells them how dances like hip-hop, R&B, and funk are mostly performed on what is called black music, which usually ascends on the even number beats. Strong moves like snares or clapping generally follow the even numbers, which can be seen while saying the numbers aloud. This is how, while dancing, the performer naturally makes sharper movements on even numbers. She gives them a quick demo, explaining that if you add a funk rhythm, it starts to look like hip-hop, though she gets this might be new territory for beginners. She jokes that most Japanese naturally feel the odd-numbered beats, thanks to J-pop and anime themes always kicking off with a strong beat. This is why they will start by getting used to the afterbeat. Kaboku is listening to her intently, and when the music starts playing, he instantly recognizes that she played a soft song that uses snare. Mayo continues her lecture, as she uses her arms to show them motions while telling them to imagine an invisible wall. She continues to move her arms around, telling them how to match the afterbeat first, then pull back for a second before striking again. She asks them to use more weight since at the start they will be naturally faster, so instead they should try to act like they are going slower intentionally. After instructing them, she tells students to pair up with another student and face each other so they can check their partner is not moving faster than the beat. Kaboku is nervous when he finds that Wanda has paired up with another student. He looks around the class and finds another girl glaring at him, even though he is not sure if she is staring or if this is how she normally looks. He couldn't pry his eyes away as the girl continued to dance in front of him, showing her amazing moves to her. When she stops after a moment, she asks Kaboku what he thinks of her performance. Kaboku tries to say something, but he can't form any proper words, leaving the girl frustrated, who tells him to speak clearly because she can't understand him. He overhears other students discussing their routines, and in a sudden burst of confidence, he boldly informs the girl that her moves are outpacing the rhythm of the music. Before they can exchange more banter, Mayo interjects and prompts them to switch partners. As Kaboku dances, the girl nonchalantly points out his speediness with a subtle eye roll. He realizes that it is a simple technique to judge another person's speed because it is hard to judge by yourself. Mayo then informs him how he seems to be clenching his arm muscle when he hits, and she even shows him how to do it properly. After his dance class, Kaboku is visiting the convenience store when someone suddenly calls his name. He looks to the side to find two seniors and a girl from the first year of his dance class waving at him. He politely greets his fellow club members, who ask him why he is buying all this stuff. Kaboku couldn't care less about running into them. Living in a small town means constantly bumping into familiar faces. Soon all of them are sitting in a cafe, and the girls start the conversation by commenting on how scary the recent audition was. She asks Kaboku to share his secret of improving so quickly in the dance class. He knows that his reason for becoming a better dancer is his secret practices with Wanda-san, but he doesn't want to say that in front of his seniors. Before he can come up with a proper answer, the other girl deduces the reason to be his basketball skills. Even though this is not the real reason, he decides to just go with the answer without trying to explain everything. One of the girls says how watching him dance like this makes her regret not putting more effort into dancing. Kaboku remains silent, realizing this girl must be Mukogawa-senpai, who, as he's heard, has a twin sister. Though a second-year student, she hasn't performed publicly yet. Just then, two more girls approach and are surprised to see Kaboku sitting there. He recognizes them as classmates from dance, and stays quiet as one of them nervously mentions how intimidating it feels to get on stage. She adds that performing was such a shock it made her wonder if she's cut out for it. Her friend reassures her, saying she looks like a dancer and notes how they've all learned more about dance now. Kaboku identifies the first girl as Fukai, a first year. The girls continue discussing competition choreography and the solos some dancers get, while Kaboku struggles to keep up with their conversation. Ignoring the chatter around him, he recalls how while dancing he let himself go but still stayed calm. Perhaps it's because he was accompanying Wanda-san at the moment, and he's unsure if he can handle both the spotlight and her presence at the same time. Coming out of his thoughts, he asks the girls if they can remember the last competition. The girls instantly reply that they remember everything. One of them adds that the competition was preliminary with the previous third-year students before they left. It was mostly known as Miao's one-man team, and there were some experienced dancers from the countryside. Onyo-chan tried to catch up with the other dances, but she was better than everyone else. In the end, their time didn't reach the next round. Miao-chan won 4 individual performance awards from the judges. Kaboku is impressed to hear the story, but he knows just one person being perfect is not enough. He wants to know more about the experience and asks how she felt when she was standing on the stage. The girl replies that she can't remember anything clearly because everything went so fast. At the time, everything was so bright that she couldn't even see the crowd properly. As she watched the videos, more details started coming back to her. Strangely, it's Miao's solo that stands out in her memory instead of her own parts. Kaboku quickly figures out that Mio-chan's solo would be a full 4 bars. He notes how her style contrasts sharply with theirs. The girl responds, guessing he must have seen it during the Cloud introduction showcase where the president danced with another senior. Kaboku, however, keeps quiet about missing that event, though she clarifies that out of 5 dancers, 3 were third years and 1 was a second year. He finally tells them that he didn't watch the performance. His dancing pals nonchalantly point out that he joined the dance floor late and offer to show him the video. He eagerly watches the dancers, captivated by their graceful movements. When the video ends, the girl comments on the performance, noting that the team usually consists of the same members who participate in various events and competitions with older dancers. Her friend adds that while they can perform solos, they haven't danced together much as a group. Despite this, they remain hopeful, recalling how Miao expressed her desire to achieve more when new first-year students joined. Now seeing Mio-chan perform like that, it feels like she's been hiding 2 years' worth of passion. The conversation shifts to Wanda, a talented first-year dancer. One girl doubts Wanda's group performance abilities since she excels in solos and doesn't use the chat app. Kaboku zones out again, reminiscing about the president's impressive stage presence, unsure if they'll achieve anything this year. As he walks back, Kaboku can't shake the feeling that their class lacks unity. He wonders if they're too focused on Miao's performance and losing their own rhythm. He's curious about how Mio dances so effortlessly, perfectly in sync with the music. Kaboku's thoughts shift when he realizes Wanda hasn't arrived yet. He checks the date and time, anxiety creeping in as he worries about her well-being. They hadn't clearly discussed their practice schedule, and he starts to fear that Wanda might have made plans with others and forgotten their arrangement. Although she assured him she was fine with practicing in secret, he didn't expect her to lose interest so quickly. Crouching down, he screams in frustration, feeling like their friendship is one-sided. He stares at his phone, contemplating whether to reach out. The thought of calling makes him uneasy. He finds it easier to communicate through gestures or text. His stutter makes phone conversations uncomfortable. Then he remembers he can send her a text message, which seems like a better option. Before he can execute his plans, his phone starts ringing, almost making him jump out of his skin. Quickly gathering himself, he looks at the caller ID only to find that Wanda-san is calling him. When he picks up the phone, she instantly starts talking about how she thought he wasn't comfortable talking on the phone, so she decided not to bother him. She explains that her father has suddenly visited her for something, and since there are only 2 people in the family, she had to miss the practice because of some personal issues. Kaboku is attempting to speak, but all that comes out is gibberish as Wanda apologizes for ringing him up so late. Just before she could end the call, Kaboku finally blurts out a question about her father's well-being and offers his assistance. Wanda reassures him that her dad is fine and it's no big deal. After expressing her gratitude, she agrees to catch up with him at the club and promptly ends the call. Kaboku just sits there for a moment, but then decides that he should practice on his own. Plugging the earphones in, he starts moving to the beat of music while his mind is filled with the pictures of Wanda and his friends. Looking at himself in the glass window, he keeps thinking about how the rhythm of hip-hop and R&B usually focuses on the second beat. In the beginning, he thought that it would be just some usual practice, but the things were completely different from how he imagined a dance practice to be. He is getting better at following the music, controlling his body, and performing his dance moves. When he stops moving, he sits on the ground to wipe his sweat while his thoughts are still stuck on how he wants to dance with Wanda-san. The thing he is more focused on is how cute Wanda sounds while talking on the phone. The next day, after dance practice, Maya reminds everyone that the contest is approaching and suggests calling random meetings if she needs to share anything. To be more organized, she suggests starting a group chat to discuss plans and even offers to share choreography videos for reference. But let's remember, nothing beats practicing together in person. Her excitement is quickly doused by her friends telling her to chill. Meanwhile, Kaboku can't help but notice Wanda engrossed in her phone. As Wanda frantically tries to set up her chatting app account, Kaboku steps in with some tech support, guiding her to the finish line. And as they head back, he realizes that maybe he's not as tough as he thought. Wanda breaks the silence by telling him that she had installed the app when she first bought the phone. She even used it for a while, but then the notifications were very distracting for her, and she struggled to really concentrate. Kaboku is surprised to find out that she is creating a new account and tells her how she can just turn off the notifications. He quickly changes the settings on her phone. Wanda is amazed by this new setting, while Kaboku can't help but think about how she will not read all the messages. Once Wanda stops looking at her phone, she tells him how she likes the hitting practice where they swing. She asks about his timing in that practice and suggests that they can try practicing it now. Without waiting for a reply, she plays the song on her phone and then starts moving to the beat. Kaboku carefully looks at her movements, once again noticing how she moves slightly after the music, and it feels great to watch her like this. Wanda says the other students are struggling with their timing, but Maya praises her dancing skills. She then asks him to try, and Kaboku instantly starts moving to the beat. As expected, he feels nervous to see her in front of him like this, but Wanda is happy to see how in sync they are. Suddenly stopping, Kaboku says to Wanda that he wants them to chat through the line from now on. He asks for her line ID after making sure that she is ok with it. Wanda instantly agrees with him, saying that this way they can avoid any misunderstanding like what happened last time. Soon they share their IDs, and after seeing how simple it was to set this up, Wanda regrets not doing this earlier. Kaboku is relieved to know that he was anxious for nothing. She happily says how she will learn new things easily and then asks what is on his mind. Instead of replying to her, Kaboku just sends her a sticker through the app. Seeing his icon, Wanda comments how the seahorse is cute, and Kaboku is happy that she likes it. As the date of the dancing competition at Eichiren High School starts approaching, the practice has gotten more intense. At first they did the routine foundational training properly, and after that, they started practicing the choreography. During their dance class, everyone is focusing all their attention on the dancing, discussing how to perfect their steps. One of the girls praises Nigami-san, saying how fast she is to master the steps. Nigami looks at everyone around her, thinking about how she is the only one who instantly remembers all the steps and even masters the routine quickly. She feels like she should be better at dancing than everyone else, but she doesn't seem to beat Wanda. To get rid of her annoyance, she tells Wanda to close her hands and put them parallel to her face. Instead of getting offended, Wanda simply follows her instructions, even thanking her for the advice, which just seems to irritate Nigami more. Just then, Maya tells their group to practice their routine once more. They quickly stand at their designated places and start performing their routine. While dancing, Nigami notices how Wanda is continuously mumbling something to herself. Kaboku seems to be struggling with his steps, but their whole team is also looking bad. Nigami is feeling a bit anxious about the upcoming contest since her team isn't exactly crushing it. After struggling through their routine, the girls turn to Miao for advice on how to remember the steps. Mayo-chan, cool as a cucumber, simply tells them to groove to the music and demonstrates how to stay on beat. Stuttering a little, Kaboku asks her if they can practice once again. Mayo seems confused by the request, but she still agrees with him. Nigami watches as a few stragglers reluctantly return to practice, silently urging them to remember their steps before the class ends as it's too simple. They decide to run through the routine one last time, and despite one girl complaining about exhaustion, she joins in anyway. Soon after, they finish practice, relieved to have made it through, even though their legs feel wobbly. Nigami, who didn't participate, lingers nearby, annoyed at herself for hiding. As the other students head out, Maya tells Kaboku to call her On-chan like everyone else. He slips and calls her president again, but when she insists it doesn't sound cute, he finally hesitantly addresses her as On-chan. In their school, the dance club has a separate room, but they are mostly used for the girls to change. The few boys in the club find an empty classroom and hallway to change. As Kaboku passes through an empty corridor after practice, he spots Nigami and Maya talking. Curious but respectful, he doesn't interrupt. Watching Maya engage attentively with Nigami, He worries about how the club will manage without her next year. He understands the challenge of being kind when he himself struggles to change his habits. Mio gently asks Nagami what's on her mind, and Nagami asks why she was eliminated from the team. Mio acknowledges Nagami's hard work and quick learning but explains that the team can only take 4 first-year members due to limited spots. She encourages Nagami not to be discouraged, sharing that she once cried over not being selected for a recital team. Nagami quickly corrects her, insisting she didn't cry, but Mio brushes it off, feeling guilty for making unselected members practice the same routine. She reassures Nagami that the moves they practiced will be useful in other competitions and the cultural festival. Blushing lightly for Mio's pat on the head, Nagami presses for clarification on the selection criteria, eager to know what impressed Mio enough to choose the selected dancers, insisting she is more skilled than many others. She can also easily remember the routine, and she feels like she is closer to Mio's team than anyone else in the club. All the other members are still struggling with their dances, and it makes her worried that they might not be able to win the competition. Mio finally understands her concerns and explains how there were other people in the selection procedure, like the vice president, Shiki, and the instructor, Professor Ishida. Even the other students from the 3rd year were involved in the selection procedure, and the members were selected through mutual decision. Nagami is surprised to know that Mio wasn't the only one who had selected all those people. Mio continues that they all noticed how good she is at understanding the moves and are happy to see that, but she must be feeling a little intimidated trying to get in sync with everyone else. Nagami just thinks that this is what dancing is about but stays silent as Mio asks her to be more focused on the whole routine instead of just thinking about points. After thinking about her compliments for a moment, Nagami realizes how people often praise her sharp moves, but no one ever said that she is great at dancing. It made her think that she has a different definition of good than everyone else, but one thing she is really sure of is that Mio is actually amazing. She is really nervous when asking what she can improve. Mio quickly understood the question, even though she couldn't word it perfectly. She starts to tell her something, but Nagami instantly interrupts her, asking her not to tell her to enjoy the music because it is very vague advice. Mio is thrown off guard by her warning but eventually continues the conversation by asking about her favorite dancer. She can choose anyone, but it should be the person that makes her think they are great at dancing. Once she chooses her favorite dancer, she should focus on what they are doing during the intervals. Meanwhile, Kaboku practices alone in the corridor, discovering that his moves improve when he truly follows the music. They're currently working on hip-hop, a genre that was equally popular last year, and he would have been frustrated if they had to dance to girls' hip-hop. The moves Mio selected for their routine aren't overly complex, but focusing more on the music reveals its subtle nuances. He's determined to remember these details and achieve complete synchronization with the rhythm. His train of thoughts breaks when he finds Wanda-san dancing in the corridor and notices her continuously mumbling something. He just stares at her, even when she suddenly stops, but no words are exchanged between them. On the other side, the president tells everyone to take a short water break. Nagami is the first one to leave the room, complaining about the excessive heat, but her thoughts are quickly diverted when she tries to think about the dancer she really likes. Looking through the window, Nagami finds herself fixated on Wanda, which annoys her. Inside, a girl joins Wanda, impressed by her dedication to practicing during the break. Nagami snaps out of her thoughts when she sees Kaboku entering the classroom and calls out to him, nervously asking if he's friends with Wanda-san. Before he can confirm, she asks if Wanda is doing special training. Kaboku replies that Wanda doesn't have a special routine but tends to mumble to herself while dancing. Nagami has noticed this too but is puzzled by it. Kaboku explains that there's a subtle delayed sound in the music that Wanda focuses on, confirming it by murmuring along. Meanwhile, a girl dancing next to Wanda asks if she's mumbling shaka shaka. Wanda replies that if she doesn't repeat those words, she feels she might forget everything. Kaboku notes how she always sweats heavily after practice and tells Nagami to keep this to herself, explaining that Wanda likely dances even during breaks. Despite his stutter, he's relieved when Nagami doesn't comment on it, but instead asks if he has videos of Wanda practicing. Kaboku thinks it would be great to watch those but wants to ask Wanda first. Later, when he meets Wanda, she wonders why Nagami wants to see her videos. After considering it, Kaboku suggests that Nagami might want inspiration. Wanda proposes that they record a dance video together, and soon the three gather in the corridor to practice their routine for Lost. Kaboku asks to play the song, and Wanda reassures them not to worry. Nagami pulls Kaboku into a balanced formation, and they begin dancing in perfect sync. Later, while watching the practice video, Nagami realizes Kaboku was right about the intervals between the moves. She usually transitions directly from one step to another, while Wanda includes small pauses that enhance her movements. Nagami also notices how well Kaboku and Wanda are in sync despite their size difference, while she struggles to keep up. Kaboku, amazed by the video, can hardly believe he's the same person from school. Wanda, in a daze, marvels at how wonderful people can be. Nagami suddenly appears, teasing Wanda about being easily impressed. She asks for Wanda's honest opinion on whether she was moving faster than the music. Wanda admits she was quick, but insists Nagami's dance is inspiring, showing determination to improve herself. Embarrassed, Nagami tells Wanda not to overdo the compliments and vows to pay more attention to the music next time. Wanda is excited about practicing together again. Later that night, Nagami lies in bed, pondering why it was so hard to admit she always thought Wanda was an excellent dancer. In their next class, Mayo has them practice the routine several times before calling Wanda and Nagami to the front. After their final run-through as the students leave, Nagami approaches the president and asks what count she should follow for the hand-raising move. Mayo tells her to call her by her first name before answering. Somewhere in the city, there is a dance competition going on, and the host announces the final battle between Masamu and Iori. The audience looks eagerly at the stage as Iori steps forward, thinking about his method of listening to the song first so he can understand what the music is trying to represent. After that, he focuses on the beat, carefully listening for snares, hi-hats, and the kick. He also wants to check the rhythm parts, like the melody or the rap pattern, because it tells how the song will progress. Once he fully understands the song, he forgets about everything he has developed in his mind and jumps into the music with neutral emotions. After his bombastic performance on the stage, Iori goes out for drinks with his friends. They all praise him and congratulate him for winning the competition. After calling him out for only drinking juice, his friends comment that it is strange that he is such a good dancer even when he is just in his second year of high school. Contrary to popular belief, not everyone is blessed with Iori's dancing skills. Iori himself argues that there must be some hidden talents in Osaka and Tokyo. He fondly recalls being the sole dancing sensation in his hometown. The new information is surprising to his friends, and he further explains that there were few dancers except him, but all of them practiced dance breaks. Listening to his story, his friends feel that he is alone and ask if his school has a dance club. Iori replies that the school sort of has a dance club, but like usual, it is not of much use. In the meantime, students at Hikari High are taking a break after practicing the intense dance routine. One of the girls complains about how she can't do this, but her friends quickly assure her that she is doing great, and she just needs to improve her moves on the kick sound. As Mayo discusses their moves, she encourages them to watch their practice video for inspiration before calling the next group to the stage. Kaboku and Wanda showcase their impressive dance routine, captivating their friends. The club's vice president, Shiki, watches closely and is struck by Wanda's performance, noting that she seems ahead of both first and second year students. Even alongside On-chan, it's difficult to distinguish who the senior is. Shiki finds Kaboku's movements unique, a sentiment echoed by younger girls who comment on the catchiness of his dance. They agree that Kaboku shines particularly when dancing with Wanda. Shiki observes that Kaboku's dancing varies. Sometimes he moves fluidly, other times rigidly, and she notices him identifying mistakes in his own performance. Initially, she thought he would merely follow Wanda, but he proved her wrong with his individuality. At the front of the class, Moya was telling everyone how when they are standing in front of a crowd, the right points to the stage right, and the left points to the stage left. She is telling them this because most people get confused by this, and they also need to stay hidden from the audience when they are on stage wings. The easy way to know if they are visible to the audience is to see if they can see the people in the crowd. On the stage, there are indicators known as spikes that are placed 90 centimeters apart, and the dancers can use them to get a better understanding of placement when they are moving around. Hearing about the professional terms of stage, everything suddenly feels much more real to Kaboku. After thinking about it for a moment, Mayo can't come up with any other information, so she tells the students to ask her question. Nagami is the first to raise her hand and ask how they will judge the contest participants. The other thing that students want to know is who will be the judge of this contest. Mayo replies that the judges are mostly 5 elder people who are either professional dancers or valuable sponsors. For the judging, there is no specific pattern as they individually analyze every participant. The website outlines several criteria for evaluation, including skills, physical appearance, composition, creativity, technique, energy levels, and team cohesion. The students find the complex chart confusing, while Kaboku worries about how their club will perform compared to others. Miao quickly assures the girls that they don't have to be worried about it because the only thing they have to do is dance well on the stage. Students just get more anxious as they slowly realize that the competition is approaching fast. Tachiawe, a student from the first year who has been selected, looks very concerned about her performance. Her friends try to assure her that she will do great as she was the one who got selected. Wanda also tries to encourage her, saying that they will do great. Just then, two girls peek inside the room, telling everyone that they had borrowed a tablet and they could watch the performance from last year. Everyone quickly gathers as they place the tablet at the front so it is visible to the whole class. Miao tells everyone that they will get motivated after watching this video because there is a chance that they are better than the dancers from last year. Kaboku is curious if the performance they are going to watch is where the group didn't win anything but On-chan still got several individual awards. Once the video starts playing, the students can easily guess what the group was trying to achieve since Miao is in that group. Kaboku leans closer to the screen just as a girl points out how there is a male dancer on the team. They are all impressed by the boys' dance, and one of the students informs everyone that he is Iori from the second year. Kaboku is amazed by Iori's performance, while in the background, a girl explains that Iori mostly dances the type called house, but last year, he teamed up with the club members to perform hip-hop. They are just disappointed that he doesn't visit the club very often. Adding to the conversation, Miao tells everyone how she was talking to a dancer from a different school, and they asked if Iori-kun will be on the team this year too. So apparently, word on the street is that Ichirin Hai's boy on the dance team is a total pro. And now that Kaboku is on the team this year, people are getting all mixed up thinking he's Iori. Talk about pressure? Am I right? After class, Miao pulls Wanda and Kaboku aside for a little chat. She tells Kaboku he's getting the dance highlight treatment, but he's totally lost. Turns out, everyone in the club gets their own special move, and Kaboku's is going to be a bit acrobatic. Miao sets up Wanda in the middle, and they're gonna nail this move at the big finish. She demonstrates the move, explaining that Kaboku needs to run a little before sliding between Wanda's legs. As he passes under her, he should open his legs slightly and use his hands to propel himself forward. The do-run sound of the music will signal him to perform the move, which is an 8-count routine they can do together. Since the routine lacks complex moves this year, she believes this will be an impressive highlight. When she asks Kaboku if he's willing to try, he hesitates, unsure if he can slide through Wanda's legs. After considering the offer, Wanda agrees to perform it with him, envisioning how it would look on stage. The next morning, Miao runs into Iori in the corridor and greets him cheerfully. As they walk together, she asks about his recent dance battle, impressed to learn that he won most of the matches, including the finals against the well-known Gum. Miao shares her own struggles, but Iori brushes off her comment and inquires about the dance club's situation. Excitedly, Miao explains that they're preparing for an upcoming contest. When Iori asks if she thinks her team will win, Miao candidly replies that winning isn't her main goal, she's focused on gaining valuable experience. Iori remains quiet, and Miao hints at something interesting happening this year, but he seems unfazed, recalling their participation in last year's competition. Miao tells him how a first-year student Kaboku is in their team, and people might think that he is Iori. Since Kaboku joined the club just 2 months ago, he will be under a lot of pressure. Iori chuckles at the information, commenting on how it will be difficult for Kaboku. Miao further adds that Kaboku's performance is very intriguing, and he might fulfill all the expectations they have. Iori asks if Kaboku is the same person who practices a lot, but instead of replying to him, Miao just tells him to find it out by himself. Later that day, when Kaboku is playing basketball, Hodohara asks him if he is practicing in secret. Kaboku is really confused by the unexpected question, so his friend explains that he wants to know this because Kaboku is moving better than before. Just then a few senior players pass by them while glaring at Kaboku. Hodohara points out how they were trying to intimidate him, but Kaboku quickly dismisses his concerns. His friend reminds him how at the start of the school, when Kaboku went to the bathroom, a strange senior came to the classroom. The senior asked them if they were Kaboku's friends and then asked them to join the basketball club. At that time, Kaboku didn't show his interest in dancing, so they instantly agreed to join the basketball club. This is why the seniors might be thinking that they laid, but it shouldn't bother them much. Kaboku is listening to this situation for the first time and says to his friend how he is not very good at basketball. Hodohara instantly replies that he also said the same thing, but the student said that basketball in high school is very different. The basketball coach looks similar to a banker with his neatly parted hair, but he is still very good at his job. Most of the instructions they get from the coach are very logical, while back in middle school it was just about using force. Even though grit is also an important factor, knowing how to do it properly is a different thing. In the same way, just focusing on the height is also not good, but the seniors are still fixated on that. Kaboku has started to get concerned hearing all this and asks if the seniors had said something when he refused to play basketball. Instead of replying to him, Hodohara just tells him to forget all this, mumbling how those seniors are also not great at basketball. Later, when Kaboku is practicing his dance routine, he keeps thinking about how he caused trouble for his friends without knowing about it. He plays a song on his mobile and perfectly does a split and leaning back move. His mind is still trying to come up with a possible solution to make it up to his friends. He soon realizes that apologizing or playing basketball is not a suitable solution. The best thing he can do to make it up to his friends is to show everyone that he is a great dancer. Soon he finishes up his routine and is leaving the club room when he accidentally bumps into a senior. Seeing him standing there, the first thing that comes to Iori's mind is how huge the boy is. Kaboku quickly apologizes to his senior, but he starts to get nervous when he realizes that he has bumped into the famous dancer Iori. Kaboku feels confused and unsure how to respond to Iori, who doesn't seem to recognize him. Although he considers that Iori might know him, he decides to play it safe and bows politely. Just as Iori turns to leave, he notices the boy and asks if he is Kaboku. Surprised that Iori knows his name, Kaboku barely has time to process it before Iori asks if he's free right now.
Here I am.